Well, how are you doing today, Brian?
I am doing great, and you?
Good, good. We're going to go ahead and start our broadcast for the Twin Cities Unlimited Real Estate Show. I'm Laurie Knudson. I'm an agent with the MLS Online in Champlin, Minnesota. And with me on screen is Brian. I'll let Brian go ahead and introduce himself.
I'm Nelson with Mortgages Unlimited, and I am coming from Maple Grove, Minnesota, our Mortgages Unlimited headquarters, and happy to join you today for today's show.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for popping in with me. Brian and I try to do this weekly. We record the show, so you'll be able to watch it back on our Facebook business page, which we have so-called the Twin Cities Real Estate Unlimited Show as well, and we'll show a screen of that in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and start a screen share here, Brian, and I know you have some things we're going to talk about on your end, but here is the information for the facebook.com Twin Cities Real Estate Unlimited Show. And a lot of you are finding us through our Facebook page as well as through YouTube, and just folks sharing it, that we sure appreciate doing that. Our contact information is here. And we try to keep the show pretty limited to 10-15 minutes. So Brian, I have some screens ready to share on lake home prices, and I know you were going to try to talk about a certain loan program. Do you have your screen ready to share? I just didn't know.
I'm all set. Once, whether before or after you're ready, I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, since I've got screen share capability right now, I'll keep it. And so what I wanted to talk to a little bit about this week is our lake properties, because I'm kind of known as Laurie the Lake Lady. I've lived on a lake almost all my life, grew up sailboat racing and all that good stuff, even on Lake Minnetonka a little bit, although I didn't grow up on that lake. And so just kind of self-dubbed myself the name, and I enjoy selling a lot of lake property. I am a lakeshore specialist. I have been with Sherburne County Volunteer or the Extension Office to monitor lake water quality. And I just enjoy watching what lake properties are doing within the Twin Cities as far as values and the different types of lakes and what they're all doing with all the different invasive species that we have problems with right now, and keeping track of things. So what I've done is I've pulled together a screen that shows the Twin Cities region, and then there's the Wright County region, because I have lake property over there, so I do a lot of work in that area, in Annandale and the surrounding area, Anoka County and Ramsey, and I pulled it all with all price ranges, single family homes, previously owned homes, so I'm not including new construction. There's just probably not enough in there to figure. And looking at traditional sales, so nothing in foreclosure or short sale, just traditional, keeping it available for all sizes. And I did limit it to 3 and 4 bedrooms and private waterfront. I could have kept it with all bedrooms, but I kind of wanted to see a typical family home with private waterfront. And so those are the criteria I pulled, and I wanted to show you what's happening in the price range. I pulled average sale price, keeping in mind the blue bar or line is going to be the Twin Cities region for lake prices. Red is Wright County, green is Anoka County, purple is Ramsey County. So I could have just pulled Hennepin County as well, and I guess that's an afterthought right now. I guess what I'm looking at here is we're probably pulling in a lot of Minnetonka properties here, Lake Calhoun, Lake Harriet, and also White Bear Lake, and just some of the bigger, more well-known lakes, but Medicine Lake. But there's so many. I mean, my goodness, in the Twin Cities, when you look at the aerial view, there's lakes everywhere. So we're looking at a lot of smaller lakes in here as well. When we pull up Ramsey County, we are getting towards some of those. And I can't remember if White Bear Lake is in Ramsey County or Washington. It might actually be Washington. But we're pulling up some of those, I think Turtle Lake and all. There's a lot of lakes over in that area too. But we're definitely looking at more Twin Cities type housing here. Now we're pulling in red from Wright County and green from Anoka County. And my whole purpose of this slide was to show that if you're looking for a home, maybe it's going to be a permanent residence, maybe it's going to be more of a cabin, within an hour or less of the Twin Cities, between about $325 to $350, you're looking at 2013 that's where the price range was. And now we've seen steady increasing, but only by about 50,000. So a lot of people are wondering if lake properties are going through the roof right now. And I'm here to tell you, they're still a really good buy. They have done an appropriate recovery. We all saw, a little bit of a hit, and these higher price ranges sometimes see even more of a high hit when they take a drop in price, but they all are recovering. And all in about, even lake property, maybe as much as 100,000 here with Ramsey County. Not so very much, just a little bit of an increase with Twin Cities. Bottom line is, if you're looking to get onto Lakeshore, you're not going to see the huge competition that we're seeing in, like you're seeing right now, Brian, with all your buyers coming into those first-time home price ranges, which is anywhere from 150,000 to 250,000. It's unbelievable, and they are so competitive in that price range that there are multiple offers going for more than the house is listed for. And Brian, are you seeing some trouble with that, with appraisals and whatnot, or is that going okay?
Well, I'm seeing the appraisals are still coming in with that, and with all these multiple offer situation, it is driving the price up. And I was talking to an agent the other day that said that people are just, some people are just overpaying when it's in a multiple offer situation. So,
yep.
It depends upon whether the person's ready to handle that or not. If they don't have a lot of extra money to be throwing at, being in the competitive market, then, some people were just moving up to a higher price point just so that it was going to be less competition in that price point.
True. And of course, we're speaking right now about what's not on the graph, and that is just the housing that it's not on a lake, and it is traditional housing, as we call it, in the entry-level buying area. And the 250 isn't necessarily entry, but we still consider it in that range of where the competitive offers are right now. So what I'm trying to get people's head around is, if you ever considered buying on a lake, the opportunity is there without so much of the competitive offers, competing offers, I should say. As a listing, a seller who is considering listing, you're still seeing some really nice appreciation. No matter what graph line you're looking at here, you're not going to go wrong. You're seeing a nice bump. You've seen some recovery from where we were a couple of years ago, and some nice appreciation. So great news from the seller side. And great news if you're a buyer looking to get on a lake, because you're not going to see, for some reason, these prices here, they're just not seeing the multiple offers yet. Now, that's not to say come June, July, that lake properties aren't going to now take on the same predominant traits, right? But right now, I guess I'm just trying to push some of those buyers that are looking to consider looking on a lake. Maybe it's just not occurring to the typical buyer to consider waterfront, and they're not even opening it up in their search fields, because we as realtors have all those search fields. So I hope that makes sense. Brian, did you have any questions on this?
Well, I'm a brand new lakefront homeowner myself. Just in March closed on a property in Wisconsin, so I'm enjoying I'm one of the few people that you're talking about that made the switch over from living on dirt to living on dirt and water.
Mm-hmm. There's something special about it, I tell you. And some of these properties are with 40 minutes to the cities. If you just add on another 10 to 20 minutes to your commute, it can just not be even your cabin. It can be your year-round home. So depending on where you work, we can find you a lake home in that area. I'm going to go ahead and switch it back over to you right now and see what you've got to share. Because I think that hopefully took care of some of those questions there.
Yes. Well, as I'm pulling up the next screen here, I wanted to talk about today's highlighted loan, which is the FHA 203K program. It's a rehab program. So I'm going to pull this up here and share the screen with you. There, hopefully everyone can see this. The FHA 203K program, it's a rehab program, and specifics. The reason why the name is 203K is after the actual statute, that's what it's named after, is a 203K. A normal FHA loan would be a 203B.
Okay.
I
didn't realize that. All right.
It took me a while to figure out why they call it as such. So, and the loan is really designed. It's really just a regular FHA loan with a little bit of a twist to it, where you can actually finance in the rehab costs. And they have two versions of this. They used to be called Full and Streamlined. Now they've changed the name to be Limited and Standard, I think is what they call them. The idea behind the two is that the limited or streamlined is if it's under $35,000 worth of renovation, and they limit some of your stuff, whereas the other one, the full or the standard, goes, there's no limit to how much you can borrow against that. So getting into some of the basics of the program, again, it's the FHA, so it is owner occupied only, and they have the standard mortgage insurance that you'd normally have in an FHA loan. Some of the more details about the program is that when you actually get your bids and you start putting them together, they're going to hold an extra 10% back and possibly 15%, depending upon if utilities are on and whatnot, for just what they call a contingency fund. And with the streamlined one, you get half at close and then half after final inspection, after the work is done. And usually you have one contractor, you do one draw, one at the beginning, one at the end. And the important thing on these loans is you cannot do any of the work yourself, so no self-help. You have to use a licensed contractor. They have to get approved and everything first. So, but it's really nice this program is really nice if you find the house you want in the area that you want it in, but for some reason, it's just not quite the house you want. Maybe the kitchen's way outdated, different things like that. So you can actually get in that home, and Laurie, you've been out looking at many houses, that not all the kitchens the houses are up to date out there.
Right.
So,
I mean, I see this as such a nice fit for the person that, I'm going to make sure it's on yours here. Such a nice fit for somebody who found the right home in the right school district in the right neighborhood and near the conveniences that they wanted, but that kitchen was outdated. Like you said, it's kitchens and baths. And so, or maybe I suppose it could even be like if there was a new roof that was needed.
Yep, and septic, many of those different things. I just closed one last week. We had to do a new septic and a few other things. And the nice thing is the house does not have to pass FHA standard when you close, but after you've done the work, it does. So that's how they can build that in. The second slide to this, the second page now, is talking about the difference between the two. If you do the full 203K, you can do all kinds of stuff on it. And this kind of gives you a list of all the different things. Well, the first list here is what's available for both, all the different improvements you can do. And the second one just talks about underneath the full version. If you're going to move load-bearing walls, if you're going to add square footage, if you can do many different things like that, then you do the full program instead of just the limited one. But this is a great program. And not everybody offers this program. We do. And it's a great way to find that house if you found the house, but you want to do some of the work anyways, and you just don't have the money to fix it up. Here you can finance it. And so if it's the nice thing is on that rehab portion, you're only paying 3.5% of that, and you're rolling in the rest of the cost. So it's a really nice program, Laurie, for doing that.
It is. And I'm so glad that you brought that program up, because quite honestly, a lot of lenders will consider that program to be too much work. And you're kind of talking about it in the capacity that you've had some experience with it. You understand the logistics behind it. You understand the processing. And yeah, there's going to be a little bit of extra paperwork. And I think more than anything, it's educating the buyer and educating the realtor to make sure they understand what that program can be used for, and conveying the right information to them. It's an information world. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because it is absolutely usable, and it makes a great investment tool for those people who would like to buy that property that's a fixer upper, right? Now they've got a method to do it without having to have an extra $20,000 in cash. Maybe they have the qualifications for that higher level loan or higher price loan, but they need to build in some portion of it to be the fix-up cost. Now, is there any limitations with how long they have to keep that house or that loan before they transition it or flip a house, so to speak?
It's just like a normal FHA loan otherwise, so you don't really even notice the difference. And you can, with FHA, it's owner occupied, and so at closing you're intending to occupy that property. That's what your intention is. And so
and you could intend to occupy that property for 6 months, right? And you could be living there while some of those changes are happening.
They do on the limited, they say that the house has to be habitable to begin with.
Okay.
And on the full version, that does not need to be. The full version I'd only recommend for people that are diehards that want to go through, because there's a lot of decisions. And as far as time frame on these loans, the limited, if you have your normal FHA loan, those are about 30 days right now, 30, 45 days. But on the 203K Streamline, those are taking about an extra month longer. But you can figure you have your contractor time in there, and a lot of that, choosing the bids, deciding that, and then you get your appraisal. And appraisal, they appraise the home based on those improvements, subject to those improvements. So it's just a great program.
I love it. I just think it's a terrific program for us to consider when we're doing real estate. And so glad that you brought that up. So let me see now too, if I can, one moment here, go to our final screen, which is going to be how you contact us. So let me see if I can share my screen again. There we go. So we're always happy to take your questions and talk with you about your real estate concerns and a lot of the marketing changes or market conditions out there that are constantly changing. A lot of new loan programs that are always changing. You see a lot of those, don't you, Brian?
Yep.
And so we want you to reach out to us. And so that would be bnelson@muihomeloans.com. You have another website. I keep forgetting to put it on. It is, oh gosh, I almost have it. Go ahead and tell us, Brian, what that is.
It's www.closewithbrian.com.
I always use this one instead, so I'm so sorry. Closewithbrian.com. Excellent. And then the lknudson@NMLSonline.com is my email. But go ahead and contact us even on our Facebook community page with the show, Twin Cities Real Estate Unlimited Show, and we're able to message you and contact you that way as well. Please share this with anybody considering doing a rehab or fix-up type home that might need a 203K loan, and also with anybody who's considering or maybe should be considering Lakeshore. So if you wouldn't mind sharing that, Brian and I would be very pleased about that. And that's all I've got from my side of things. So Brian, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we sign off?
Just wanted to thank everybody for viewing this today's show, and look forward to the next one.
Sounds good. Thanks so much. Now have a great day.